pressure's up too much, and he's also, Jimmy Johnson going around.
Into the wall hard.
Unbelievable, our leader. And as Chris Buescher gets down on the apron and comes up back onto the racetrack, he has to check up. He gets loose. Jimmy Johnson just could not anticipate quick enough, and it was impossible to do so.
Jimmy Johnson is arguably one of the best NASCAR drivers, if not the greatest NASCAR driver in history. But even he had some untalented moments. During NASCAR's first race back after the COVID break, Jimmy Johnson had the dominant car that day. Coming to the end of stage 1, he decided to get underneath Chris Buescher and ended up wrecking himself, taking him out of the victory. Jimmy Johnson easily could have won that day, but he had an untalented moment.
We got a crash on the front straightaway. The 20 car of Christopher Bell and the 1 get together, coming off a turn for Christopher Bell.
I'm going to take you back up. Slow down.
At that point, I know the 20 didn't mean to wreck himself, but right here, he comes low to block, and then he just comes up like the 1's not there.
Yeah, I just think this car, it's a little bit harder to see out of. All right. Ross trying to go to the outside of the 20 here. Got a good positioning. He goes to the outside, and the 20 trying to protect that position up the racetrack.
And Ross had just come out on tires, was trying to get back by the 20, and Christopher Bell
Christopher Bell throws a late block on Ross Chastain during the 2022 Michigan race. Christopher Bell is usually a driver who doesn't make mistakes that often, but it was shocking to see when he just decided to do a extremely late block on Ross Chastain, ending both of their days. They both had a shot at winning the race that day and had fast cars. This was after green flag pit stop, so I was very surprised that Christopher Bell decided to throw this late block at a very random time in the race.
On the inside, Larson on the outside. Back up through the gears they go. A little shove from Martin Truex Jr. And too hard through 1. Keselowski, Larson both into the wall. They pile up in the Tums heartburn turn. Caution coming out again.
Yeah, I just had no grip or drove it.
nobody really spinning their wheels much. Brad's in trouble right there. He knows he's in trouble, got the left front locked up, and now just nowhere for these guys to go. I think even the 18, he was in too deep.
This has to be one of the biggest NASCAR untalented moments by multiple drivers. During the inaugural NASCAR race at the Charlotte Roval, Brad Keselowski drove into turn 1 and completely overshot the corner and hit the wall. But so did like half the other field. It was crazy to watch this live. I remember watching it and just my mind was blown seeing how many cars overshot the turn with just a handful of laps to go, costing themselves a shot at the win. Rain was definitely looming during the 2012 Pocono race, and all the drivers knew that this restart could have been potentially the end of the race. They wanted to get the lead and get out front, so if the race was called, they would be declared the winner. Well, Brad Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson decided to do some of their most untalented skills by overdriving turn 1, collecting a huge crash. Brad Keselowski narrowly avoided wrecking himself, but Jimmy Johnson was not so lucky.
Oh, Jimmy! Trouble! Kenseth in the wall, Biffle in the wall, Kenseth spins into the pack!
Great restart. I thought he was going to be able to get it well out in front of Kenseth.
Yeah, but Kenseth got over on his quarter pound for just a second. You see Jimmy try to get away, but Kenseth had a good restart. Jimmy just got loose before he got down in there. He was just trying to drive it off in the corner and make sure that he got ahead.
Marcus Ambrose is one of the best drivers on road courses in his time in NASCAR. If you put him on a road course, he's arguably the best driver in the field. He was leading with just a couple laps to go under caution. He decided to shut his car off to save some fuel, but he did that while going up the hill. He could not get his car refired, and multiple cars passed him under caution. He ended up falling back to 7th position on the restart and ultimately could not take home the checkered flag that day. He was furious.
He's trying to drive the car right now faster and harder than the tires will allow him to.
No trouble! Championship contender in trouble, crashing on the back straightaway.
No.
Believe this.
Look, contact
like
with Edwards?
Contact with Carl Edwards, yeah.
Oh, man.
Watch the 99 car of Carl Edwards as Earnhardt Jr. moves up the racetrack. They just make a little bit of contact, at 190 miles per hour. That's the result.
Didn't Junior do something like that
Here.
Wasn't
it? Was Ryan Newman?
Was it Ryan Newman?
Yeah.
2004 was Dale Jr.'s best shot to win a championship, but down the backstretch in the closing laps in Atlanta, he cleared himself off of Carl Edwards, ultimately crashing himself and costing him valuable points that he would have needed to win his first ever championship. Dale Jr. would never won a championship in the Cup Series, and everybody can look back on this moment and find out that this cost him a championship.
Can Harvick do it? The final turn. He needs the position.
Oh, Harvick spins the 18.
Turns into the 18. He turns as well. The 18 crosses the start-finish line, and Harvick is going to be out of the playoffs.
Kevin Harvick had to gain 1 point during the 2020 Martinsville race to make it to the final round, the championship round. He decided to try and crash Kyle Busch to gain that position, but he ultimately crashed himself, costing him a shot at a championship in arguably his best season of his career.
So that puts McDowell and Bain.
Oh, Michael spun on the back.
And
Michael crashed down the back. Oh my gosh, what happened?
The caution is out with 8 laps to go.
That's a huge break for all of these drivers that needed fuel. A huge break for Denny Hamlin and Marcus Ambrose especially. He's trying to get back up to speed. Did he jump up on the apron too quick?
Well, I don't know about too quick, but that transition from the apron up on the racetrack, we know that's hard. I mean, that's hard to do. Just down on the apron.
Keep taking their pack just out the end of pit road.
When he came up on the racetrack, the thing just jumped around with him.
I will never really understand how Michael Waltrip did this, but if this isn't an untalented moment, I don't know what is. Michael Waltrip wrecks by himself during the Daytona duel race while merging back up on the racetrack. This was a rookie mistake by Michael Waltrip for a driver that's been driving for a long time.
7 car, Stephen Wallace in the 66, and David Stremme in another car owned by Rusty. Oh, we got a spin! It's a tap from Wallace!
Right behind you.
Oh, the big one in turn 1, heavy contact. Cars in the wall. Stephen Wallace heavily damaged. There comes Kyle Krisiloff down. David Rudiman involved.
See the intensity level coming up on these guys.
We saw Mike Wallace look like he was going below David Rudiman right here, but they ran up on a slower car. Wow.
Right. Man.
That's Kevin LePage's 61 that Carl Edwards went up across the back of. And then it all broke loose behind him. Car slipping and sliding. Kelly Byers involved. Brad Keselowski, watch again.
Oh, you see what happened here. This 61 was not up to speed, and it's almost like these guys moved over and didn't see him.
You can't make an untalented video without Kevin LePage. The famous Kevin LePage incident at Talladega. Kevin LePage was a lap down car and decided to merge back up on the racetrack right in front of the entire pack at Talladega. He collected about everybody in that crash and then blamed his spotter.
Or maybe there's more to it. This is off turn 4. But gets clear there. And she gets in on the bumper, but just doesn't get off of him. Right there where you're talking, and you just turn it left and lock it down.
And she had a chance to not go up hit that wall if she just stayed on the brakes and kept it down there. It's like she's trying to save it and just kept driving it until it hooked to the right.
Yeah, at that point right there is whenever you should just, as a driver, realize that this is a spin, lock it down, and you can come get 4 tires. And that's the kind of things that you'll have to learn with these cars.
Talk about untalented. Rule number 1 of stock car racing, everybody knows it. If you're going to wreck somebody, make sure you don't wreck yourself. Well, Danica Patrick failed this miserably during the 2012 Kansas race. She tried to get retaliation on Landon Castle and failed. It made some great TV, though. It was pretty hilarious.
See if he can make that work. Down on the inside, he's trying to make this pass. I think it's going to happen. Oh, man.
Up across the racetrack and contact with the 07 car.
Reed Sorensen gets a piece.
That's Jason White. Oh, my good. Wow.
And
a hard lick right there.
Really don't know what the 07 was doing right there. Man, I think he eventually was trying to get out of the way, but obviously put himself right in harm's way.
Yeah, Chase Austin up. There he is up in turn 4. Now pulling down across the racetrack, DJ.